Today's show is sponsored by Screencastify, the tool millions of teachers use to record screen videos for their classroom. Stay tuned at the end of the show to learn more about the #1 screencasting tool for Google Chrome. 5 Ideas for Writing with Technology, episode 235.
The 10-Minute Teacher Podcast with Vicki Davis. Every weekday, you'll learn powerful, practical ways to be a more remarkable teacher today.
Today, we're talking with Jacqui Murray about writing with technology. Now, we will include in the show notes her K-8 tech curriculum, which has a lot of these tips. So, Jacqui, how do we teach writing with technology?
I think what happens to a lot of teachers is they confuse the idea of teaching writing when they're talking about technology with teaching handwriting or keyboarding. But I try not to do that. I try to focus in on the standards of the curriculum, the writing curriculum I'm using, augmented with Common Core or whatever other standards I'm using, and focus on those rather than the idea of sitting there with a paper and pencil on paper and doing it that way. I think that there's handwriting without tears. Obviously, a lot of kids have a lot of trouble with handwriting and keyboarding. So if I remove that feature from it, then I can focus on the things that writing teaches kids. Like I'll pull these right out of my national standards for writing. Provide evidence in support of opinions, examine complex ideas and information clearly and accurately, communicate in a way that is appropriate to task, audience, and purpose. See, that never mentions what tool to use to do that. It just says that's what kids should get out of writing.
So you let them write with whichever way. If they're more comfortable handwriting, they handwrite. If they're more comfortable typing, they type. How do you do that?
I do it even more than that. I focus on what I want them to get out of the writing, which is, like I said, examining ideas or providing evidence. And then I might do it through Minecraft. I might take a Minecraft and then pose questions to them saying, what is the story behind what you're building? Who are the characters in your made-up world? What is the setting? And have them, a series of them that apply specifically to their grade level appropriate writing standards, but they do it through something like Minecraft. Or I can do it with art or an audio program that they talk it rather than get caught up in handwriting or keyboarding.
So you've got the writing standard, but they may actually meet the standard without written expression?
Yes. Now, obviously, I do want them to write also because lots of kids are very good at writing and they love it. So I'm making it available to the kids who are kind of afraid of handwriting or writing, putting their thoughts on paper, and give them these options that accomplish the same goals I want them to accomplish without the pain that goes along with it.
Well, I teach my students voice dictation, and there's some students who are far better at voice dictation than they are at typing or handwriting, and then they go back and edit. I mean, they still have to edit.
Perfect.
But you're just saying that as long as we end up getting there, that kids may go multiple pathways to get to that final destination of a written piece?
Yes, that's the way I teach it. Now I teach online classes. I teach grad school classes for teachers. So this is an alternative I propose to them when they have students really struggling with writing. They have the ideas in their head. They know exactly what they want to do, but they can't get it down on paper. So we do it that way instead. It just gives options.
Well, and it doesn't make the child say, I hate writing, because some of the most creative writers actually struggle with the mechanics of writing.
Exactly. Another one I really like is this 140 character novel in Twitter, because kids love Twitter. They love it. So to write a whole novel in 140 characters, you start by saying it's impossible, but you remind the kids of how you tell a story, the requirements of that, and you have them write this story. Now they can do 280 characters, but to synthesize it down to a Twitter post. If you search a 140 character novel on Twitter, or on the internet, you'll find a ton of very good ones, and they grab you instantly. You get caught up in them, even though you think, who could do that with 140 characters? So that's a very fun one that takes the focus off of the writing, but reminds them of what they're supposed to do with writing. They're still writing because it's Twitter, but it's not a lot, and they love Twitter.
And of course, if Ernest Hemingway can do it, we can do it too, right?
Yes, exactly.
Because he did some very short ones. So you've talked about alternate ways of getting to the written word. You've talked about 140 character novels, so I guess 280 character novels. What are some other strategies?
A really fun activity I do for older students, once they have the basics of writing, say middle school or high school, is to take the class and write an ebook. Could be fiction or nonfiction, but they do all the steps you would normally take in writing a book. Write it. You meet with your critique group to go over it. You can do that virtually on Google Hangouts or Skype. Review their writing, edit it, fine-tune it, but to write the whole ebook. And then at the end of probably a year long, I don't have too many people who do it in a semester class, but at the end of that time, they have a book they can publish. So it's very fun for them to come out of that, first go into a writing class with this wonderful goal, and then come out of it with something in their hands.
Absolutely. And I'll link to some, my students did ebooks this semester, and some of them wrote it on Google Docs and then pulled it into Book Creator. And it just, when they have an audience and when it's an actual book and they can open it on their iPad or they can print the PDF, it's just such a powerful piece to have in their portfolio, but also to know that they created it.
Yes, excellent.
Okay, what other idea do you have for us?
I'm a real fan of blogging. I think blogging accomplishes so much of what we want kids to do now, which is collaborate with each other, share their ideas, task, audience, purpose, write for the task at hand, the audience that's reading it, the purpose they have. And blogging does all of that. So I'm a real fan of that for any subject, for any purpose. It can be expository or fiction or nonfiction or essay, whatever it is, and then allow students then to share it with each other and comment. So I like that one a lot too.
Oh, blogging is wonderful. So, Jacqui, when teachers are writing, you've given us 5 great ideas for writing with technology. Is there anything that you think that teachers may make as a common mistake
in using these?
Yes, in writing with technology specifically. I
do. And I'm glad you brought that up. I do. A lot of people, when they think of writing with technology, they think of like spellingvocabulary.com, something like that comes to mind. Not to pick on them, I don't mean it that way, but they think of, if you know the SAMR model, substitution, augmentation, modification, redefinition, then you know spellingvocabulary.com is at the substitution, maybe augmentation level, but technology is very effective in modification, redefinition, which is the ones I've mentioned with Minecraft and Twitter novels and blogging a bit. So yes, I think they make the mistake of thinking they have to do it like, okay, I've taught writing, now I'm going to use technology to practice it, to practice their vocabulary and spelling, rather than modify and redefine.
And just not taking it to that higher level of thinking and problem solving that we need to get to so that our students can be critical thinkers and creators.
Exactly.
So we have gotten today 5 ideas for writing with technology. Jacqui Murray, we have lots of links in the show notes to all of her curriculum, her K-8 tech curriculum, keyboarding curriculum, all kinds of material. She's a fantastic resource, been teaching K-18 for 20 years, so she has a lot of experience with a lot of different grade levels. If you teach writing, it's so important to engage students in the process of writing, and sometimes that means not getting too hung up in the mechanics before you get them excited about writing itself. So thanks for listening, and get out there and be remarkable. Screencastify is the screencasting tool I recommend for Google Chrome and Chromebooks. Get started for free at screencastify.com/coolcat. Screencastify was built especially for Chromebooks and saves all of your recordings directly into Google Drive. It is an essential tool for making flipped lessons, student videos, and creative formative assessment. Screencastify is the tool I use when my students start programming video games in Scratch. I have them record a screencast for me to demonstrate the program as well as talk about their code. Now, if you want to go for unlimited editing, request a quote for your school and be sure to mention Cool Cat Teacher for a discount. Go to screencastify.com/coolcat. That's SCREENCASTIFY.com/coolcat and get screencasting.
Thank you for listening to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. You can download the show notes and see the archive at coolcatteacher.com/podcast. Never stop learning.